we could explore the entire universe and learn everything. And if we were not thoughtful and kind, it would really be for like no purpose. Humanity is always changing more in the future than the past. That's always been true, but because the amount of change now is happening so fast, the future won't be like the past. See, 300 years ago, the future was kind of like the past because the change was so slow. So 300 years ago, someone's children would have a life that was a lot like their parents. But that's not true anymore. And so the next 20 years will not be like the last 20. In other words, the pace of change itself is accelerating. And now it's accelerating at a pace where we as humans really feel it more so than any other time in our past.
There are a lot of grand challenges, big stuck systems, corrupt systems, misaligned incentives, huge pockets of suffering people, broken supply chains. There are problems that you cannot quickly solve, problems that you cannot solve with just one entity or one technology.
Democracy is at a crossroads in the world today. We've made great strides, and people now exert accountability and control over their politicians in about half the world. So in about 90 some odd countries and about almost 4 billion people live under decentralized governance, where the people can push back on the leader and can really control the situation. That's a massive improvement over what we had a few hundred years ago, and we shouldn't overlook that. It's really important to pay attention to the fact that this has been a pretty big revolution for most people in the world. This decentralization revolution in politics is real. It's affecting billions of people, and it's a massive achievement for humanity. On the other hand, we're only halfway there, right? So there are, as you say, about 4 billion people, 93 countries, that still live in a highly centralized society where one man does pretty much control everything. What we have are so many different futures and possibilities where those people live under free countries. Just imagine what they're capable of, what they're being held back from doing. I mean, look at a country like North Korea. How many potential Nobel Prize winners, how many potential brilliant scientists and founders are being wasted under these authoritarian systems where they're not allowed to disrupt, where they're not allowed to live out their dreams.
Eu acho que, por definição, ninguém está pronto para o choque do futuro, porque se está pronto não é chocante. E, então, tudo aquilo que choca é aquilo que você não está pronto. Mas o choque do futuro, do meu ponto de vista, ou melhor, por definição, é a taxa de transformação ser tão veloz que você não dá mais conta de se adaptar à realidade. Então, isso foi citado ou nomeado por Alvin Toffler, futurista americano, nos anos 60, que identificou que o mesmo efeito que algumas pessoas sentem quando viajam para uma cultura diferente, o sentimento de desorientação e de confusão, essa sensação está se aplicando cada vez mais em casa, sem sair do lugar, porque o futuro está acontecendo numa velocidade cada vez mais rápida e nossa capacidade de acompanhá-lo torna-se cada vez menor. Então, todos nós sofremos com um pouquinho de choque do futuro. Eu estou tão pouco preparado quanto qualquer outra pessoa. Eu só tento acompanhar as mudanças um pouquinho mais de perto. Eu acho que uma solução é se jogar na tecnologia, de experimentar, de testar, de aceitar você ser um beta-tester perpétuo e aceitar que nem tudo funciona perfeitamente e que terão arestas e pontas meio soltas, naturalmente, mas isso faz parte de você viver na ponta da tecnologia.
If we can't figure out how to make smart computers, we are already and have already ended up in a world where the problems that we have are beyond our mental capacity to fix. The biggest problems in the world, and they're not just about poverty and clean water, and they're not even just about global warming and ocean acidification. These are just the beginnings of the problems that we're about to have.
Singularity University really is about educating people and motivating them and being a catalyst. We are not a traditional university. But what we do is we take these incredible trends of exponential technologies across so many sectors, robotics to AI, to genomes, to health, to energy, to transportation, and we bring them all together and show people how radically they're changing the world and the opportunities to use it to improve the world around you. To improve your business, of course, to improve your life, to make money, but more than anything else, to address the greatest grand challenges of humanity and to make a better world.
And Singularity is great for that, right? Because it immerses participants in a short period of time in all of these emerging and accelerating technologies that maybe they weren't aware of. Or maybe they'd heard of something like 3D printing, but they didn't know you could 3D print a new organ or something. So they're seeing the convergence of adjacent fields. Once you've educated yourself, now you have to have conversations. And the discussions cannot be held by only one group of people. It can't be the scientists only. It can't be the technologists. It can't be a government. It has to be all people from every walk of life, all races, all nations. Everybody needs to be having the conversation.
So Singularity University is a global organization. I would say we're a global learning and innovation organization. And the mission of the organization is to educate, inspire, and empower leaders to leverage exponential technologies to tackle some of the world's biggest problems. And we firmly believe that it's only through working together with diverse groups of people who bring diverse perspectives to the table that we will be able to achieve this task, which is mission critical, right? The world is facing so many existential threats today, and the world needs to come together to work together, to collaborate, to contribute in new ways to solve some of these really big problems.
Em 2017 surgiu uma nova figura dentro da Singularity University, que foi a criação de um Country Partnership. E nós começámos a investigar e vimos que haveria aí uma hipótese muito interessante de trazer a Singularity para Portugal. Então, em 2017, fomos a São Francisco e fomos verificar como é que seria o processo de criação e percebemos que, além de tudo aquilo que poderia ser a Singularity em Portugal, que é basicamente preparar os líderes para amanhã, acima de tudo encontrar áreas de conhecimento em que Portugal possa ser líder, possa ter não só o conhecimento, mas também a faculty, os experts, que possam trazer esse conhecimento para Portugal e escolher 2, 3 áreas em que mundialmente Portugal possa ser líder. Uma das coisas mais importantes no conceito da Singularity Portugal foi a colaboração que existiu entre as várias entidades. Ter uma BTI, uma Câmara Municipal de Cascais, uma nova SPE e depois os parceiros fundadores com a AGAs, a SMAPA e a GALP, terem uma colaboração muito, muito forte para montar desde o princípio a Singularity Portugal.
Neste momento vivemos claramente um momento especial na humanidade devido à exponencialidade de diferentes tecnologias. E o facto interessante é que todas elas apontam para um crescimento exponencial agora. Vêm algumas atrás, diria 5, 10 anos, mas é agora que a inteligência artificial está mais emergente, que a robótica está a expandir-se, que o blockchain está a ser implementado. Enfim, é nomear as tecnologias e ver a progressão exponencial que elas estão a ter. Para além dessa parte tecnológica, as pessoas, a sociedade, as empresas também estão a adotá-las de uma forma muito mais rápida, ágil, praticamente instantânea. O que faz com que tenhamos aqui uma tempestade perfeita entre a tecnologia e o homem apto a adotar esta tecnologia exponencial. O que é que a Singularity traz ao contexto em Portugal Eu acho que nós temos uma história de inovação interessante, que se está, outra vez, eu acho que desde a crise, a voltar a sentir, com o aparecimento de mais startups, de mais empresas pequenas, inovadoras, portanto, a Singularity acho que traz à baila alguns temas que nos permitem ir ainda mais além. Portanto, conseguimos algum sucesso no curto prazo e a Singularity permite ter uma visão de maior futuro para poder escolher horizontes. Eu acho que Portugal tem muitas cartas a dar em certas áreas tecnológicas e estas conversas são interessantes porque juntam pessoas com temas e com recursos e com vontades para nos poder direcionar em algumas delas.
Portugal já ajudou a mudar muito o mundo e eu penso que estamos a viver momentos-chave de enorme disrupção, de enorme transformação das nossas vidas e onde um país tão pequenino, tão singelo, com tão pouca importância geopolítica no mundo, pode de facto marcar a diferença. E por isso, trazer a Singularity para Portugal, esta visão disruptiva e de que a tecnologia pode transformar o mundo e as nossas vidas para melhor, eu acho que é de Portugal que isso vai acontecer e é com a nossa força, com a nossa energia que vamos conseguir.
A Singularity University surge num ambiente de imensa mudança tecnológica. Mudança tecnológica é essa que terá um grande efeito de mudar todos os nossos sistemas e todas as nossas formas de estar. Para isso, nós em Portugal temos que nos preparar. Eu acho que o papel da Singularity University de Portugal é exatamente esse, é ajudar Portugal, as suas empresas, as suas pessoas, até próprio o seu governo e as suas autoridades, a prepararem-se para a mudança que a tecnologia vai trazer e a assegurarem que essa mudança tecnológica contribui para uma sociedade mais inclusiva, mais estável e com mais progresso.
Singularity University can help Portugal to boost a sense of urgency and to help also create a new narrative about the future and what Portugal wants for the future, and to also to pave a clear path and better tools for Portugal to get there.
We are already in a realm of medicine that is science fiction. So much of what we are doing today was predicted once by films and books and things of that nature, right? For instance, take gene editing, CRISPR. That's about 5 years old, that's it. And the idea that we can go in and rewrite the code of life, that's something that, for instance, a film called Gattaca, which I think is at least 20 years old, looked at. This idea that we're now a spacefaring civilization and the children that were born to parents who had money could alter their DNA and create fairly intelligent, perfect children who had more opportunities, for instance, to go into space and explore. And it's interesting because we're now going to be confronting that ethical question right now.
The average human lifespan has been increasing by a year, roughly like every 15 years. And recently, I think it went to about 7 years. And so it keeps halving. And many of the scientists believe that in 2045, the average human lifespan will increase by a year every year. Which means that if you make it to 2045, you might actually live a really long time. But they just changed that prediction from 2045 to 2029. Which is only 12 years away. So it's as good a time now as any to be really healthy. I hate the idea of dying right before you might actually live a really long time.
Personally, I still would like to die peacefully in bed, right? I think the future will not have that because people will live for all times and will become immortal. It's a kind of society that me, but I'm old, right, would not like to live in. But I think that younger generations, they will be fascinated with everything that's coming. And although I'm old, I keep this childish curiosity of everything that's happening in the world and I follow it up.
I dream a society that is more inclusive, more collaborative, and most of all, more considerate, where individuals, where people and organizations are accountable, and where they're empowered to make a positive impact in each other's lives.
I would say embrace change. And I think, of course, part of the success should also be that we, beyond being inspired to embrace change, we also come up with more specific areas of change to ourselves or to the countries.
It's natural that we want the future to be under control, but I think control is something of an illusion. I think that if we really could control and determine everything that happened, life would actually be terribly dull. And I think that most of the exciting and interesting things that happen to us involve some element of surprise or unexpectedness or novelty. And so I think that, whilst we might strive to control things, controlling is always going to be beyond us. And actually, the effort to try and understand the future and what's coming at us is different from trying to control it. So it's a way of engaging with what might happen, engaging the imagination, engaging our creative capacities to respond and to come up with new stuff that's going to enable us to navigate what's coming at us.
Nas próximas décadas, pessoas da minha área, portanto, astrobiólogos e cientistas planetários, estamos à espera de ter várias missões espaciais que permitam, primeiro que tudo, determinar se existe vida, não só em Marte, mas se existe vida no nosso sistema solar. Isso é um dos grandes pontos, aliás, é uma das grandes questões e talvez descobertas da ciência. Não será em 10 anos, eu diria que isto demora, uma missão espacial demora décadas e, portanto, estamos à espera que isso aconteça nos próximos anos, mas não direi que se é 5 anos, 10 anos ou 20 anos. Estamos a planear, estamos a trabalhar nesse objetivo e, portanto, eu diria que as grandes descobertas são realmente a procura de vida extraterrestre no nosso sistema solar e o passo seguinte será tentar descobrir se existem outras terras noutros sistemas solares, ou seja, tentar descobrir se existe vida extraterrestre noutro sistema solar fora do nosso.
The idea that technology has two sides to it does. But it unquestionably always brings better benefits than it does worse ones. The right way to think about technology, because we tend to think of it as like there's the living things and then there's tech, and that's the artificial thing, but it's not accurate. When a beaver builds a dam, or when a bird builds a nest, the nest is not artificial, the nest is natural too. In fact, the nest is just bird technology. And when a beaver builds a dam, the dam actually affects millions of organisms when it builds the lake behind it. But the dam isn't unnatural. The dam is natural too, and so is the beaver. And when people build technology, technology isn't unnatural. We're kind of all the same stuff.
In a world of exponential technology, we want to have exponential education so that kids can actually take advantage of the exponential world. We need an education system that's going to change now, not in 10 years, but now. We've been giving it so much time to change. Literally, it's been going on for at least 30 years. Since 1990, people have been saying we're going to change education with technology. And it's been so resistant to change. And that's because there's fear of failure in the schools. So they were like, I'm not going to change it all because then I don't have to worry about failing because I'm just the same as I've always been. Yes, the whole system's failing because you refuse to change. You need to change. Everybody needs to change. There's so many ways that we can improve the world. And giving students that opportunity to think about it, my God, what a gift that would be to everybody, to the student, to the community, to the administration, everybody.
O que o mundo mais precisa agora é tolerância.
It's the ability of collectively co-create a better world and to understand what is the role of individuals, organizations and regions in changing this world, and also to find new ways of learning and new ways of governing all these collective assets.
O que o mundo mais precisa agora é de diálogo entre as pessoas que possa trazer novas ideias para nos organizarmos, para assegurarmos que tanta riqueza que é produzida no mundo é distribuída de uma forma que nós todos nos sentimos parte dessa aventura.
What the world needs now is for people to focus more on what brings us together rather than what sets us apart.
What the world needs now is courage.
Fear drives human beings. And unfortunately, it also drives our news. Because people are more interested in fearful things than they are in things that are just good news. And so we tend to listen to the fearful things over and over. But we can't let our future be driven by fear. It's actually not what we are. We get driven by compassion, by love, by courage. Those things bring us a great future. And it's actually when we overcome fear that we create a future that we really want.
Imagine the world in which every little girl had the reins to her own potential. A world in which every kid that could truly make a difference in my life had the full opportunity to do that. Yes, I'm a bit of an idealist, but I believe that that's a better world, that my life, my kids' lives will be better in it. And it's very hard right now to be in a world where many people don't seem to agree with that idea. But that's one of the amazing things is they don't have to. If enough people are helping, if enough people reach out, whether you're talking about exponential technologies or just lending a hand, then lives will be changed and millions of people will have better lives as a result.
All of innovation, all of disruption works because of one thing, and it's this willingness to take risks. And if we're not willing to take risks, there is no innovation and no disruption. And the thing that drives us to take risk is this idea of love and compassion and the reason to do everything. And so if you want to take risks, you grow your compassion for people. And you grow your love and compassion, and that is what drives you to take risks. So the compassion is what actually creates the desire. And that is how we gain meaning in the world.